Peace and love to you and yours. Thanks for tuning in into another episode of NBA Accent, which is a funny name because it does sound a lot like NBA Action.
Oh yes, actually that's true.
NBA Actually, that's true. So welcome to a new week, welcome to a new episode, and welcome to the most important and the most interesting part of the NBA season. We talking playoffs today, baby. And we finally have the 16 teams that are continuing their journey towards the ultimate goal. And of course, a lot of them do not really stand a chance to get anywhere near it. But before we begin talking about the 16 teams, we had a bit more. We had 20 teams in theory. Well, just four additional teams
Yep.
that didn't make the cut after the play-in round. And that's where we begin our story. That's where we begin our audio recap of what's been going on in the NBA, orientated towards European listeners.
Yeah, and I would like to say that for the starters, that play-in is really growing on me. I despised it because it just took away the buyouts opportunities for those middling teams at the end of the season, for stronger teams to become even stronger at the end of the season. So the top games at the playoffs would be even higher quality. But in spite of that, it increased the quality of those middling teams much more than I anticipated, and excitement about I never thought I will be as excited about Cleveland Cavaliers as I was, and of course it's kind of pointless, you still will lose probably in 4 or 5 to the first team, even if you make it, but it's super amazing. And those Pelicans have had their Cinderella story. It doesn't matter how many blowouts they will have to the Suns, but I think it's a really amazing transition, because at March we are hyped up on the March Madness, like that format of one do or die game for everything. It just grows on you. Some people even start watching college basketball, which I still find really mesmerizing, how one could do that when there's so much basketball around. But the hype is enormous, and those home crowds of Minnesota, of Cleveland, of those teams that are not used to having high-stake games anymore. Well, Cleveland had a lot of them, but without LeBron, they're not used to have them. And it's actually the vibe, the atmosphere there is incredible. And after the play-in games finished, the game one starts like it's the game one of the normal playoff series of the first round starts, and you see that the vibe is much more not content, but like
reserved.
Yeah, more reserved, because it's like a first round of the boxing match. The team's more like taking notes, collecting data, and playing games is like go full front. You either do or you don't. And the story of the Pelicans, how they overcame the firstly Spurs, then Clippers unexpectedly at the fourth quarter, the Willie Green speech, and etc. Well, it was really incredible. But with that long intro and appraisal to play-in formats, we settled down to the Eastern Conference. And just a heads up, since we are doing this Eurocentric format of the NBA analysis, we'll settle on Eastern play-ins, and for most European series of the first round, and because it will be preview, review, overview, because when the next episode will air, those series will be most likely concluded, so it's our only chance to talk about them. So have you watched Rokas the finite playing game between Hawks and Cavaliers?
Between the Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets, I believe that's where we should start. The first playing game was in Brooklyn, and the atmosphere was really nice, even though the Minnesota fans later upstaged basically everyone with their just crowd performance of what's been going on there. But in the first game, the Brooklyn Nets took care of business, 115 to 108. The scoreline did not really reflect the gameplay. At least in my eyes, because, they led for most of the game. There were moments where they slipped up, sort of let the Cavs get back into it, cut the deficit to like 7-8 points, but they never really overtook Brooklyn. And the one thing that I really remember that stands out the most to me when I think about that game was the end of the second quarter.
Okay.
Where in 46 final seconds of the first half, Kyrie Irving dropped 8 points, and it took Brooklyn's points tally for the quarter up to 17. So they had 9 points in 11 minutes and 14 seconds, and then Kyrie Irving basically doubled that amount in just 46 seconds. And Kyrie looked great, Kevin Durant looked great, Cleveland played without Jarrett Allen. And they were struggling, even though Evan Mobley really showed why he's one of the most intriguing upcoming prospects in the NBA. I cannot say nobody, but most of the people did not expect Cleveland to win, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, I did, stupidly. I thought
you did.
The Brooklyn will manage to generate even more intrigue. I was sure that they will make it, but I was, for some reason, managed to persuade myself that they will lose to Cleveland Cavaliers just for reasons, But in a hindsight, when you know that Cleveland didn't make it and they didn't make it in quite narrow margins, you quite think so. That game was never in reach, and the Cleveland reached and tired themselves, because Hawks blew out worst playing team of all time, Charlotte Hornets, quite easily. So they were prepared and ready for the.
We had that game as well. Before you mentioned it, because I took notes when we were discussing the flow of this episode. Was that the Eastern playing games? Yes, it's Cleveland against Brooklyn and Cleveland against Atlanta. I just totally forgot that there was another game, but Charlotte.
That 9-10 game is it's forgettable.
It's the Charlotte Hornets game. They are the perennial losers of 9-10. Well, Jonas keeps on winning, so
he's the best player of all time. He, I believe, played out of. In all possible playing games, he played in 6 overall.
Right?
Five. Sorry, five. Five out of 5 possible games. He played in the bubble too.
They had.
And his record is 4-1.
That's pretty cool.
So JV is the one person you want to have if you want to be sure that you won't be able to make it to the playoffs, but you will straight away. But you will. Hop out of the barrel that's playing.
Atlanta took care of business quite easily against Charlotte. There wasn't really that much of a question in that game, but
Cleveland Atlanta game. Well, at the halftime, it seemed like it's never a sure thing, but it really looked like it will be 10 points. Cleveland was up by 10 points. Lauri Markkanen played probably most complete half of basketball game of his career.
He really surprised me with the way he's able to defend on the perimeter.
Honestly, everyone in Cleveland surprises me how they're able to defend. Even Karis LeVert is worse on offense than on defense in Cavs uniform. It's kudos to JB. Really upstanding performance as a coach from the team that no one expected to not to make
And
the
imagine
playoffs
this:
narrowly.
if you put Hawks Cavaliers box score into Google, the thing that they are showing to me right now is Virginia Cavaliers against the Bournemouth Hawks, a game that was played on November in the NCAA. So what the hell, Google? I mean,
yeah, it's incredible. I would suggest that you use like out of the of this result, I would guess that it's not Google, it's like Bing or Yahoo.
ask Jeeves.
Yeah, so if we're not talking about search engines, we could talk about offensive engines that is and was and will be Trae Young for Atlanta Hawks. Well, he had miserable first half. I think he had like 6 points
6
or something
points,
like
I believe
that.
that's right, yes.
And then basically 90% of the made basketballs were either scored by or assisted by Trae Young.
He had 43 that he either scored himself or assisted, and the Cavaliers they had 54 in the second half. So I don't know where I read that, but maybe it was about the fourth quarter that he basically outscored
fourth
or
quarter was
outcreated,
completely insane.
outdueled the entire offensive production of the entire Cavaliers squad by himself. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. It is a smooth transition between that and the series that we have right now, Atlanta Hawks against Miami Heat. But I mean, against the Cavaliers, Trae Young looked just unstoppable. But against the Miami Heat, he looked pretty stoppable, at least in the first game. We are recording this episode on
just
the
before
eve of game
Trae
2.
Young drops 60 in the second game. But in first half of that game, of the playing game, Trae Young looked like JB had all the answers for him, and he just took off. And well, the way they defended Trae Young, the Miami, I mean, in the game one, well, I look at the other games that are officiated in this series, like we will talk in NBAS about Toronto-Philadelphia series, but even other series, there's much more calls for much softer style of defense than Miami shows. And well, yeah, like Kyle Lowry plays really dirty played really dirty against Trae Young, and I think he won't be able to do that in second game. I still think that Miami will come out of the series as winners, but it shouldn't be as easy, and I believe that Trae Young has like one of the toughest mentalities, and he will find an answer to blow out at least in one game. I would guess so.
How many games shall this series take?
I think 5.
5.
Like Miami is just better. Yeah, we have fellow Europeans in Atlanta Hawks, Clint Capella, who's playing much better.
Injured.
Oh yeah, he injured.
Hyperextended knee, and
he won't play.
At least for some time.
Yes, sorry. He played good in the first playing game, and I fixated on that. But Bogdan Bogdanovic shows that he's like much better than Kevin Huerter. It's not surprising. Danilo Gallinari gives you something on offense, takes away a lot on defensive end, and everything rests on Trae Young's shoulders. Onyeka Okongwu, of course, also important, but I think that Miami is just too complete, too well-rounded team. For like a lot of people can step up. There's a bunch of like players that nobody heard before this season. Like Max Strus was amazing, and
But we heard about Max Strus last year.
Yeah, but we heard, but not
Maybe
so much.
Not a lot of people did, but he was there. He was there as a shooter. He just has his role expanded.
Yeah, but
right
after, I don't know his contract situation, but if he'll be a free agent in this summer, he will get paid most definitely. So, what's your guess for this series?
About the series?
Yes.
I will give it a 6.
6. Oh,
Yeah,
generous.
it will be interesting to see how well Atlanta performs at home, because teams tend to do better on their own courts. To be precise, let me check their record when they were playing home and away. Miami playing away went 24-17, and Atlanta at home 27-14. They had like joint third best record in the Eastern Conference when they were playing home games.
Okay.
So that might be a difference maker. And I can imagine Trae Young just exploding, and also they do have other players that can step up in certain situations. You mentioned Gallinari. There's of course Bogdan Bogdanovic. There is also another European who played in the starting five of the playing game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, that's a trivia question for you, but let me save you the time. Timothée Luwawu-Cabarrot,
okay.
also playing for the Hawks. So
did he play in the starting 5 against Cavaliers?
27 minutes and 12 points against the Cavaliers, playing in the starting 5.
I believe you have wrong. I believe you have wrong box score.
Yes, I'm looking at December 19.
Yes.
I'm a genius. So never mind that. But there was.
He's definitely is present on the roster, and I see how it can be like a really one-sided 6-game series. The way Raptors against Cavaliers was in 2017, I guess.
Maybe even 16.
Yeah, 16 when Bismack Biyombo got paid, and just because Miami doesn't have that player that, despite anything that happens, can get you buckets. I see the game that Miami just freezes out, and shooters don't hit open jumpers. Then you can more easy contain Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry. So that can happen, but in no way I see Hawks winning the series.
No, that would be just astonishing.
No,
I cannot imagine such a scenario. Injuries maybe, but even then, it's really hard to fathom.
But still, it's nice to have a player of Trae Young's caliber in the 8th seeded position, because if we look at the other side of the United States map to other conference, we see like the series that has basically zero intrigue in Suns against Pelicans. So this, despite the winner is quite certain, still have some intrigue, at least, to see how the series plays out.
Fair enough. And Max Strus has an unguaranteed salary for the next year, so I'm pretty sure that the Miami Heat will pick up the option on $1.8 million per year.
It's probably best value in the playoffs.
Might be.
So the next series, we're staying in the East, and to me this one is most boring series that I'm probably only gonna watch if Bulls will win 2 games, because even they will win 1 game.
What if they steal home court?
Doesn't matter. Like I saw the way the game 1 played out. Of course they can play this night and Bulls can drop 40 on them. I don't know, but the quality of basketball was just so bad, the worst of any playoffs game in my opinion, and you just see that Bulls can't do much better. DeRozan had atrocious night. He's not gonna be that bad, but Milwaukee was just meh. Yeah, they were just this is the end of the game, we're still not winning. We'll win, and then they just did that. Like Nikola Vucevic during the crunch time having the best game of the season, shooting from under the basket, doesn't make it, gets offensive rebound and like doesn't make it again, and shoots layup instead of just dunking. It's just such a personification of Bulls' abilities against team such as Bucks. Doesn't matter what will happen, Bucks will have an answer, and I just cannot watch this series in any other angle. Well, kudos to Bulls to kind of turn it around this season, but I cannot see any other way as Bucks in 4, maybe 5.
86-93 was the final score of this game.
Yeah, it looks like, wow, 2 evenly matched teams.
Yeah, what a defensive performance.
No, it was just in like EuroLeague kind of level of basketball, not NBA kind of basketball. Yeah, the teams were fighting, but Bucks didn't pick up their ability to that extent. They will, hopefully.
You just triggered a whole lot of people with this comment.
You know what I wanted to say. Well, yeah, you have passion. You have a lot of things that EuroLeague interests basketball fans in. But
EuroLeague is much more calculated. EuroLeague is smarter. EuroLeague is not as athletic. EuroLeague is much slower in pace. But no, you cannot compare the level of it. I mean, it's just different art forms. It's basically, I don't even know, man. It's like impressionism and some other art style. You can compare them, but you cannot say, oh, that one is better and that one is not, because, to each his own.
Well, I would compare it with some kind of motor racing. There's a bunch of different kinds of sports, but everyone knows that F1 is the best, and NBA is the best. I don't care. Yes, regular season has a lot of problems that needs to sort out, but playoff basketball is on much better level and even strategically than EuroLeague. It's just the way it is. So yeah, DeMar DeRozan went 6 for 25. Nikola Vucevic went 9 from 27. Zach LaVine went 6 for 19. And all of the other players combined attempted 25 shots. So DeRozan took the same amount of shots and Nikola Vucevic even more. And it was a bit of anti-basketball, and it's really sad that the injuries basically derailed the Bulls. They would have finished on a higher seeding. They would have had an easier opponent. They still don't have Lonzo Ball. They still have Alex Caruso, who's like at maybe 60% of the physical shape that he was in before he got injured. Fuck Grayson Allen. And it's just kind of sad and a bit depressing to be watching the Chicago Bulls, especially considering the whole hype that they had created around themselves for
during
a long
the first
time.
few months.
They were at the top of the Eastern Conference for better half of the season, and the way they collapsed was really sad. And Karnišovas will need to make some either bold moves either way, either to go all in to, I don't know, get Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
This would be like, he put the franchise in that situation that it's basically the Rockets for Westbrook move. You just you cannot win with this core. You need to do something boneheaded that can backfire to you, but if it works out brilliantly. Because if you would be able to get Rudy Gobert at discount price due to chemistry issues in Utah and his enormous contract, then you have something that no other team has in the NBA. You have two good, really amazing scorers and best rim protector in the league right now. And he would be much better than Nikola Vucevic. I don't know what's the pick situation. It would be Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic, and all the picks that they can combine, but they already given up 3 first-round picks for DeRozan and 1 for DeRozan and two for Nikola Vucevic. So I think it's probably impossible.
It's hard to combine. I actually tried looking it up, but went to some.
Do you want to stay on the series? We can move maybe to Mavericks. To Mavericks Jazz.
Mavericks Jazz.
Yes,
is the next stop. Okay.
And I actually, at first I was really surprised that a lot of people that I respect, their outlook of basketball, they picked Mavericks to win the series. Despite of that, was quite obvious that Luka won't play at the first two games, and if
at least the first one, the initial prognosis was that he will definitely miss the first game.
From what I read, that it was he'll definitely miss the first game, and we're not so sure about the second game, but if you just follow the narrative of those playoff reportings about injuries, it's always we're not so sure, but they never play the second game. If it's injured before the series, if the player is in walking boots, it's always at least 2 games. Well, this is the way I read situation, and then it was surely it's unfortunate. Surely Jazz will win the series, and the game 1, it was Donovan Mitchell doesn't look quite right, but
and the game itself was ugly as well.
Yeah, ugly as well. But I really enjoyed just watching Rudy Gobert scaring the shit out of people attacking the paint. It was, oh my god, that possession when Dwight Powell tried to score on him. It was what are you even doing? He denied him 3 times. You just pass it out. You're not scoring on Rudy fucking Gobert, and other people just penetrate the perimeter defense, go into the paint and see just literally shadow of Rudy Gobert because he's tracking back from the three-point shooter and just going out of the paint because they are scared of him. And who tried to dunk on him? Jalen Green, I believe.
Might have been.
On the second game got stuffed. But second game it was different story. Jalen Brunson added $5 million yearly on his next contract.
At least, yes.
And Maxi Kleber finally proved me right. I always say he's the best German player, and while Dennis Schroeder...
At the moment, to be specific.
The
best current NBA player.
Yes, and always was no, Dennis Schroeder is better, and right now nobody says that Dennis Schroeder is better than Maxi Kleber, but we have Franz Wagner, so Maxi stay strong and put on those amazing performances.
Do not underestimate Isaac Bonga.
Yes, I would love to. I would love to. And it's usually weird to say that the team got a split on their home court, and it's a good thing, but it's a really good thing. It's one more game for Luka to rest, and if he's not right, Jazz is not playing. Actually, I would like to reverse this statement into a question. Jazz is not playing good right now.
Yes.
If you're Dallas Mavericks, what are you doing? Are you trying to use that opportunity to rest Luka and just try to win it out as much as possible with this squad until Luka is 100%?
How far would you go then?
If
it's up until 3-1, so you know.
Yeah. Of course, if it's an elimination game, I think this is the question for next game, and if or you just bring back Luka in to finish off Jazz before they find their groove. Even because I believe that even 70% of Luka Doncic would be enough to beat Utah Jazz playing this.
But there is always the question of aggravating the injury, of re-injuring yourself. And as you may have realized by now, I am not a medical doctor, and I'm not really... you should know the situation. You should know what are the risks and plan according to that. It is I would not necessarily rush him for the third game. If you would have lost the second one, well, then it would look even more desperate. But in this case, you sort of have an opening, have a window, for this one game, the third game, where you might go, you know what, we'll just make sure that you are 100%. So that would be a reasonable move in my mind. And when it comes to people predicting that the Mavericks will beat the Utah Jazz. Well, all of that came just from recency bias. The Mavericks finished the season really strong. They have home court advantage for the first time since they won the title in 2011, and they have a chance to win a playoff series for the first time since 2011, because from the time they won the title, they always lost in the first round if they made the playoffs. And on the other hand, we have Utah Jazz, who did appear to be a bit dysfunctional, like possible chemistry issues and all of that. Like Donovan Mitchell just calling out everyone by saying we keep on doing the same shit again. It's the same shit every goddamn day. We build up a lead and we cannot protect the lead and we screw ourselves over
really
again
weird,
and again.
To hear that from Donovan Mitchell when he's usually one of the, like, his boneheaded shooting. He's an incredible player. I love watching him, but his decisions, just sometimes he's that idea. Sometimes he becomes that ideal personification for people from EuroLeague diehard fans to just point at and say, "Well, look at this. This is NBA. This is shit basketball. Just shoot."
He's just playing alone.
Yes, he's playing alone, just shooting and nothing else. And otherwise, he's an incredible player. But he has those stretches when nothing's going on for him, and he's just trying shoot himself out of that. Actually, Bojan Bogdanovic also did kind of similar thing, but he did it with more craft, so it looked better. And in first game, in stretches, he was incredible. And some stretches he wasn't so. Rudy Gobert, as I said, like had most impactful 4 points performance I've ever seen, or it was 7 points. I don't know, but I still think that Utah has so much potential, and even against healthy Luka Doncic, I wouldn't bet Mavericks to sweep them. You know, basically what Mavericks, in my opinion, needed to do if they want to have Luka for first 2 games. But right now, in this kind of situation, if Luka is not 100%, I wouldn't rush him until the series is back to Dallas. Even
if it's 1-3?
No, so if it's 1-3,
deficit,
then it's back to Dallas.
Yeah,
and you play
but that's already a deep hole. You already put yourself under a lot of pressure, and you are not playing against Doc Rivers, so it might not be easy to come back from 3-1. But yeah, I mean, just the third game, yeah, I'm totally down with that. But the fourth game, if you are already trailing 2-1, well, that's when the hero has to step in the action movie. Like if you push it even further, you create a lot of pressure on your team.
Also, the other thing is that Utah is not playing incredibly intensive perimeter defense for Luka to be more likely to injuring himself again than.
But you cannot.
Because Kawhi
it's not really a factor.
And PG did injure themselves against the Utah Jazz in the previous playoffs. But yeah, when you play against Joel Embiid, who's just like flowing all around the basketball court,
jump on the ankle of Scott Barnes, man, that's just
how it's not crushed. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's if you or me would have been there, we probably wouldn't walk normally for the rest of our lives. But these are NBA athletes, so yeah, this is different.
Incredible. It's incredible.
But man, oh man.
But just, I think we're finished with this series.
Dallas Mavericks, the Utah Jazz. Who wins the series? How long does the series go, Mikolas?
Well, before the series, I said that Utah will win it. Right now, I'm in complete toss-up. But I just learned so much not to believe in optimistic scenarios about returns from injuries. And I think that for me, it's more likely that Donovan Mitchell will find his groove again and will play more efficient offense than Luka Doncic will come back looking himself from that injury, or that Jalen Brunson will be Jalen Awesome Brunson in the next
he's like Charles Bronson, man. No, he's a Western star. That's who he is. Donovan Mitchell is scoring.
I picked Jazz in 7.
Jazz in 7. Donovan Mitchell is scoring 33 points per game in the first 2 games and shooting 39% from the field and 31 from 3. So
And the first pass to Rudy Gobert of the last game that Jazz lost was alley-oop, Donovan Mitchell was standing at 3-point line and he just threw the ball to him, and Rudy Gobert catched him 2 meters away from the basket and tried to dunk it, and it looked like I don't know if Donovan intentionally threw a bad pass or it was just a situation.
That would be bad. That would really be bad.
But Utah is on the verge of being the maddest team in the league.
Yes,
If Utah Jazz would be, I don't know, based in LA, in New York, this melodrama would be everyone's talking about. But Utah itself is such an interesting market that even 2 star players that are most definitely don't like playing with one another doesn't generate as much drama as it probably should. 2 players, incredible players, best players that played for the franchise probably since Stockton and Malone. I don't know what your feelings are about Darren Williams
or Darren Williams or Andrei Kirilenko.
Well, yeah, but Kirilenko, stint was much shorter than
then Gobert and Mitchell.
Then Gobert. Well, Mitchell is still quite young, but he's most definitely most exciting prospect since.
And I remember the first season when he emerged, when he won the dunk contest, and when he was just this up and coming star. I was really excited about Donovan Mitchell. It seemed that was the player the present Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards, where you're like, damn, this dude is just going to take over the league. And no, he didn't. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty certain that maybe a change of scenery would unlock some of his potential, or maybe a major shakeup of the roster around him. But right now, it's not. I mean, he's not. Well, the expectations were really high after those incredible first seasons or the bubble. But right now, it's just it's an inefficient
leader
checker.
of the best league offense in the regular season, and he had 2 bad games in the first round. So to call him an efficient checker, I think that's too much.
Maybe, but I mean, he's just growing in the mold of Lou Williams's of this world.
No, Lou Williams was never as good as Donovan Mitchell was this or previous season. No way.
I'm just saying of the mold, a similar style, a similar certain decision making and stuff. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell is better, but he's not as good, or maybe he did not develop in the way that I expected. But yeah, when it comes to the series, I would go for the Mavericks. I would go. Let's even make it more interesting and say Mavs in 6.
So you may account for not a complete but collapse of Utah Jazz.
And it actually would be good for the Utah Jazz. It actually would be good for the league, because it's a talented collection of players that really doesn't fit together. At this certain point, it is the 5th season for Donovan Mitchell playing for Utah, and they do not look better. They do not look to be improving. Just as the vibe around the player itself, it's the same about the whole team. And they really miss Joe Ingles. He was a very important glue guy for them, and trading him away, even though
he wouldn't have played in this playoffs.
Yeah, he wouldn't have played. But if he would be there on the bench, I believe that they would be much more well equipped to present a bigger challenge to people and to just be a better team. Now, yeah, you did trade him. Who did they trade him for? Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
No, it was like a salary then, basically. Just
no, it was the trade. I do believe.
No, yeah, it was the trade, but in logic of just saving those tax dollars.
Yes, and also just to get someone that could help you right now. It's a win now move, because you knew that Joe Ingles wasn't going to be playing.
Yeah, but I believe so, at least, that if Utah was prepared to spend more, they could have gotten a better player than Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
And they also got Juancho Hernan Gomez in that
so
trade.
It's not that much.
Yep.
And last series of this review outlook
Of this view
is MVP against former MVP. Warriors against Denver Nuggets, and I believe you picked Nuggets before the series, or no?
I did when I was filling out a bracket online, but I don't even remember if I did the same. No, when we were discussing the outlook of the series in our episodes. But right now, it looks like, even though it's only been one game, it looks as if 2 games? Really?
Yeah, they lost this night too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well then, so even though it's been only 2 games, it doesn't look that the Nuggets stand a chance. The Warriors look to be back for real, and they have these combinations with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole that are just torching people and really just incredible advanced numbers and advanced metrics with them 3 players playing together. Also add Draymond Green and add, I don't even know, a tire of a tractor as the 5th guy on the court, and they still would be amazing.
But they're adding the all-star starter.
Yeah. Who... Well,
No, he's like, if we would exclude the fact that Andrew Wiggins was all-star starter and just look at him as Harrison Barnes or just other kind of role player or the person that was at one called worst contract in the league, how the times have changed. And like right now he's filling a really nice role as just a glue guy, so say just take a beating on the defensive end, crash for some rebounds, and
he's incredibly overpaid for his role. But
yeah, of course.
But you got him. Basically, you got him. Either you could have
Russell.
Like when Kevin Durant left, it was he could have left, but they went on a sign and trade and then went for Andrew Wiggins. It's a bit of a side note, but I'm actually finally really happy that the Timberwolves have D'Angelo Russell. Because he's been doing great, and because after the trade for like the first few months or so, it seemed like, what the hell? Why did you do that? Oh, he's a friend of Karl Anthony Towns. Ooh, how sweet and dandy. But it looked as if he was just a negative player, a losing player. But right now things are different, and I'm pretty happy to see them doing well, and even though it's one of the what ifs of like the really minor what ifs, but like of this modern NBA era is I still would have loved to see Ricky Rubio, Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Anthony Towns just growing together as a team. That was such a fun young team to watch and to root for. But they're doing quite well for themselves right now. Really happy for them. They will be playing the second game this upcoming night, so we don't know how well they're doing after the second game, but this is about the Nuggets and the Warriors.
It's a kind of cliche to say, but it was most definitely win-win move for. But actually, I believe that Minnesota is growing at that pace when eventually Edwards will develop so much that they won't need D'Angelo's skill set as much. As to be, main primary ball handler, and just Edwards will be handling that stuff.
Oh, the Ant-Man. Just love the guy.
Of course, we can move to back to Warriors and Nuggets. Well, Nikola Jokic it's just too hard for him, and Draymond Green is playing really physical defense against him. He is probably one of the few best players in the league to guard Nikola Jokic, and he's doing the best he can. He's doing probably more than rules are allowing in certain occasions, and he's going by that reputation of defense. Those defensive guys that are well established, they just don't get as much calls as Precious Achuas or Kevon Looney's of the world, And like Marc Gasol was the same. He always hits you with his clubs or some elbow movement, and referees just don't call that because he's established this kind of play style, defensive play style at the defensive end, and this it's why it's nice to have those kind of veterans in the team. In the case of Golden State Warriors, it's not only veteran, it's a leader of their team, at least on the defensive end. And Nikola Jokic is excellent. I don't see this series outcome, even if Warriors blows out Nuggets. I don't see any way that this should diminish his upcoming MVP award.
No, it won't.
It won't in that sense that votes are already counted. But I mean that I just hate when MVP loses first round and people saying, well, how this is MVP if he lost in the first round? And
well,
blah, blah,
he went up against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and all of them with a starting five of Nikola Jokic, Monte Morris, Will Barton, Jeff Green, and Aaron Gordon. I mean, if you take out Jokic, this is a Eastern Conference bottom team. It's just there's nothing. But yeah, I mean, it's really, really hard for the Joker to be joking around when you are playing against the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, it was. I'm kind of happy that Warriors are coming together so well and so nice. It looks like we will have interesting Western Conference finals, while
semifinals as well.
Well, yeah, probably. As I'm counting Warriors as the heavy favorites to win semis. Just their experience.
Either Memphis or Minnesota, yeah, but it will be a really fun series.
Oh yes, this series is also fun. Warriors are playing good basketball. It's always fun to watch.
How much more fun it would have been if, because the Nuggets finished the season 48-34, the Jazz went 49-33. If they would have flipped, and if we would have seen the Dallas Mavericks facing against the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors beating the shit out of Utah Jazz.
You just hate Utah Jazz.
I mean, everybody do. A lot of people do, and most of the people
Next,
do. Even LeBron James said that.
In NBA Action episode, Vernon Maxwell flying from Houston just to screw the fuck out of Utah Jazz on air. Yes, I don't hate Utah Jazz. I kind of grew fond of them during these difficult times. I believe that they will manage to get to semifinal.
Oh, you mean like during the pandemic and the war, you sort of learned to love the Utah Jazz?
During the difficult NBA times, not the world. And they will get to beat their shit out of during the Western Conference semifinals, most definitely so. But Warriors looking like a contender, I would say, those two games. Nuggets are not the team that could challenge Jordan Poole on the defensive end, stiffer Klay Thompson, much stiffer Klay Thompson on the defensive end, and Curry also on both offense and defense. Like Curry doesn't look all right. He had an awesome statistical game too, but he's nowhere. Yeah, but he's 34. Nowhere near as scary as you would like him to be.
He's just back from injury, so it's coming along. It's coming along. He will be better. I mean, if he doesn't get injured again, then he will be better. And it's a scary sight for everyone in the Western Conference.
Maybe, I don't know how the fitness works, but Warriors should drop 1 or 2 games for Curry's scrimmage. more playing time.
I don't even see that. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors sweep the Denver Nuggets.
I'm most definitely. Well, of course they will go to Denver to the
Mile High City.
Yeah, Mile High City. It's always difficult to play there. You always have Nikola Jokic. Monte Morris can have a 30 points kind of night. Curry and Poole can be cold. I still see this coming to 4 or 5 games.
I just really wanted to check. Monte Morris career high is 24. So imagining or hoping for him to really blow up offensively, well, it's not really rational. But yeah. I mean, they do if Will Barton is your second best player on the team.
I would say
sorry.
Aaron Gordon is second best player. And Monte Morris is third, and Jeff Green is fourth. Will Barton, I really...
You don't rate Will Barton?
Yeah, well, Jeff Green was awesome at this Brooklyn team previous playoffs, and they really likes him. He's a player with skill set that can be applied to a good team, and Will Barton's not that kind of player. That's why I rate Jeff Green much more highly than Will Barton.
Well, I mean, even the fact that we have to discuss this when we are talking about who is the second best player on the Denver Nuggets, it's just a sad reality.
Wait, do you believe that... this is the word. Do you believe that Murray can come back this series?
I would be surprised.
Why to just create that much of drama? It seems to me that Denver Nuggets are putting a pressure on a player that's completely not necessary, because right now it's narrative is formed that Jamal Murray will come back when he feels ready to come back. Basically, we would allow it, but he doesn't want it, or he's not healthy yet, and etc. and etc. I think that good organization just should say when the medical check will say that he is 100%, then he will play, and that's it. And it doesn't matter what you say. You can communicate, press whatever that's fits the best your outlook of your franchise, outlook of your star player, not what's the best, I don't know, to form outlook of what FO or I don't see what they can gain from this kind of communication. Maybe creating a false hopes so tickets would be bought for third and fourth game. I don't know.
I have no idea neither.
So with that idealess NBA accent episode, we're saying thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to BasketNews.com YouTube channel to also listen amazing podcasts that I believe everyone knows that are listening to this episode of Urbanus. People that are talking about EuroLeague playoffs that started yesterday, because we're recording at the evening of their start, and we'll listen and see you on after 2 weeks.
We'll listen to our listeners.
Well, I don't know. It's susiklausysime.
We will be heard. By you. And
you will listen to us after.
You will listen to us
after 2 weeks. Yeah.
So enjoy yourselves, enjoy NBA playoffs, and keep that love for basketball going strong.
Bye.
Bye-bye.